Hey, there's an area of a disagreement between myself and some of my fellow YouTubers, and that is in the action of the right arm during the swing. But right after this, let me explain to you why I think my method is better, and it's going to get you a ton more distance without sacrificing accuracy. So if that's what you're looking for and you've got an open mind, then by all means stay tuned. Hey, this is Steve with HitItLonger.com. I continue on my journey to hit the ball longer and straighter than I ever have before, and I hope to show you how too. Okay, so I watch a lot of videos on YouTube that they're explaining to you how you've got to have this elbow kind of in this range, really kind of folding it up right here like this, and that they want the elbow to be right underneath the wrist at the top of the swing, and the thing is kind of in here like this. My teacher, Mike Austin, completely disagreed with that. He used to call that packing the right elbow. You're really wrecking your ability to get distance when you pin that elbow in here this tight like this and have the elbow directly underneath the hand. This takes power away from you two ways. Number one, it's going to tend to restrict your ability to make a really long hand path. So the wider and longer that we can make this handle have to return back to the ball again, the greater a period of time we can apply torques and forces to make this thing accelerate. So when you're here like this, and you got this elbow more close to the side like this, for example, I'll see videos where people will stick towels and they'll stick head covers because they want you to stay connected. They want your arms to stay connected to your chest. I don't know, there's some magic in that, I guess. But that leads you to what we would call a packed elbow, and it's shortening your ability, shortening your potential for hand path. We want a long, wide hand path, not a short and compact hand path. So what I would want you to do if you had a glove or a head cover is get so wide that it immediately drops to the ground. So if you were to take just your right hand on a club, you'll see how natural the correct motion is to you. And pretend you're a really long hitter. Now, how would you make a swing or a backswing with just your right arm only? It's going to look like this. You're really going to crank this thing really up here because it just naturally feels like you can get a good running start at it from there. You're not going to do this naturally. This would be overcoached, and you're not going to get the sense of run at it or snap compared to if you're way up here. Now look at that. I've really got that right arm free from the side. In fact, I've got my upper arm as much as 90 degrees removed from my side, just like this. So I'm trying to get this thing up here, way up high like this, with my arm way out, extended away from my body, like that. Now, there's a second area that I disagree, and that is having the elbow directly under the wrist. This will work just fine, but I think you're stripping yourself of some potential power. And there's evidence of this in amongst the longest hitters of their generation. You've got Jack Nicklaus, 60s and 70s, turning the right upper arm inwards this way to get what we'd call a flying right elbow. You also have Fred Couples. He's way up here, but he's turning this way. Yes, it causes the club to point a little bit right of the flight line, but your ability then to reverse this, because this is how a baseball pitcher, a submarine pitcher or an infielder turning the double play, they turn this upper arm segment internally this way with the arm way up away. It looks like this. If I'm about to turn the double play, I'm getting to here. I'm turning internally and I'm getting space way up here like this so that I can reverse and create torque by reversing that, internal to external, and that really torques the shaft around the hand and speeds up. So if you were to have just a little bit of flying right elbow club across the line, as long as you are dropping it back in like an infielder would, the potential for power is even greater. Look at some black and white footage from way back in the day. Champion amateur golfer named Jimmy Bruin. And you think, no, this is not Matthew Wolf's grandfather. This is a guy named Jimmy Bruin. And his club looked like this at the top. So he was fully in that infielder position. And it was like a wheat scythe coming back through to really chop through the wheat. And he hit the ball tremendously far for that era. So a couple things to remember here. We're trying to get wide with this arm and not worry if the elbow is directly under the hand, but it's okay to let it fly a little bit this way. Not a big deal. Of course, if you start doing this on the way down, but if you're reversing it again back into that rock skip position, you're really going to have some tremendous distance coming out of it that I think this other method will really restrict you from getting. Now, of course, once you've done those right-handed exercises, it's almost like doing a giant in gymnastics. It's on the single bar way up here. Really helps you feel width coming down and really easy speed coming down. Of course, now you've got a left arm. And unfortunately, the left arm is going to somewhat restrict this incredible width. Now, you're still striving for that same width, but just remember that you're going to blend it in. Here's the center now. Instead of the right shoulder being the center, the sternum becomes the center as you add in the left arm. And the left arm, you'll see, will not be able to stretch as far, but still try to get that thing way up here, and you'll see you'll start to, when you can repeat the feeling of being way up here with the right arm, you're really going to start having to conform with the left arm by it stretching and winding your shoulder blade and turning your torso in order to repeat the same feeling. So you can really reverse engineer or trick yourself into a gigantic shoulder turn and a nice wide arc by concentrating on that big giant arc that the right hand can be making all by itself. So let's take a look at one. I'm going to attempt to make a nice wide, and I'm actually going to do a little bit of this move and cross the line, I hope, and drop it back in the slot. See some really good acceleration into impact here. Let's give it a try. That was hit big. Wow. Just by doing those two moves and focusing on those, being wide and across with a little bit of an elbow flying like a Nicholas or a Couples or a Jimmy Bruin, I instantly added 5 miles an hour on the same swings I've been making today, sending the ball about 15 to 20 yards farther than it went before. That I felt like it wasn't even effort on the way down. I felt like it was all in the potential I gave myself with this wind up here. So winding up like an infielder into this position, not restricting it and keeping the elbow under, but giving yourself freedom. Give your right arm some freedom to get loose from the side up here. Come and whip it through on the way down. I think you're going to get a ton more distance this way, just like I just kind of shocked myself. That felt good. I think I'm going to do this a few more times before I leave today. It's hitting the ball that long and straight is really fun. I hope you think so too. I hope you get the fruits out of this. Thanks so much for supporting my channel all these years. Or if you're a new subscriber, welcome. I hope you'll watch more talking about hitting the ball longer and straighter tee to green. I'm Steve. Check out my website, hititlonger.com, for hundreds of more articles and videos that I know are going to make your golf game better. And as usual, I'll either see you in the next video or I'll see you longer and straighter down the fairway. Everybody take good care.